This is Mike J. Welcome back to the channel. I am going to do a proper introduction to my 2018 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 1LT model. And today I have the opportunity to bring you out my new car and do a little video. So it sounds awesome, doesn't she? She is Black Beauty, or Vader. And let me back this out of the garage so we can get some better sunlight. And I've always liked spoilers on sports cars, but you know, Corvettes really don't have them unless you get up to the upper trim levels. And I really like this. I mean, I think sometimes a spoiler can ruin the Corvette, so now I know why some people, especially on the Mustang Performance Package cars, they don't opt for the wing. I guess people say that it does mess up with the lines in the car. Nevertheless, I love my Corvette. But anyways, I know that these tops are removable on the coupe Corvettes. I've known that all my life, pretty much since I've been driving. And when I bought this car, I didn't even realize that, hey, let's take the top off. And I took the top off, so let's get a better perspective on the car. And boy, she's gorgeous. Let's move it outside and do a little walk around. Door panels, nicely finished. Of course, Bose speakers are standard on all the Corvettes. And you have a really nice door seal. It doesn't light up, obviously. Red seat belts. Gives it that high performance vibe, you know, if you know what I mean. But anyways, let's back her out. Now, one thing I will say with a Corvette is that getting in and out is really a pain in the butt. If you're a little overweight, it's difficult. So now I know why a lot of guys can't buy these. But then again, you got a lot of 67-year-old men that buy these, so they must really have a midlife crisis. You got a seamless review mirror with the OnStar buttons that are in the mirror. This is exactly what's in the 18 Camaro SS of mine. And the new ones, what they've done with the OnStars on the Camaros is they put them up on top of the roof, which this doesn't have because it comes off. But you have a steering wheel that is basically the same as the Camaro SS. In fact, that's where they would have an SS logo if it was an SS. And now let me tell you, the Chevy products, or the Camaro and the Corvettes, the steering wheel feels good in hand, nice and small, unlike the Mustangs with a big steering wheel. That is the biggest complaint I have about owning a Mustang, is I did not like the steering wheel. It just felt too big. Got some aluminum, actually it's plastic, but made it look like aluminum decor. And it's finished up really well. And as I noticed in the Corvettes, you know, the left and the right side of the panel and the doors around speakers, you know, they don't match. They're all its own individual shape, as you can see. And contours are different. Then of course, being that this top does come off, it does offer a mic so you can communicate with OnStar. You have a standard power, tilt, telescoping steering wheel. This is all standard on the Corvettes, so you don't have to fidget with a lever. So of course, you know, you got your, it's on, I guess it defaults to touring every time you start up the car. And sometimes on the Camaro, you know, it would default to sport. So I'm not exactly sure what determines when to default to which drive modes, but it never stays on the track mode. Every time you shut the car off and you restart it, it will never go back to the same. Now, there's another feature here that not a lot of people know about. Well, I'm sure Corvette's owners know about, but you have your infotainment system, your 8-inch touchscreen, Now keep in mind that this does not come with navigation, okay? Now you can pair it up with your phone to get navigation through the screen, but it does not come in-dash with a navigation unless you pay, I think it's like $800 to have that. And basically, I think it's a rip-off. You've already paid for the screen. Why not just give it to you? But it doesn't have Navi built into the screen. But let me show you something. Isn't that cool? You have a secret compartment. All right. You got a USB port in there. So this is a secret compartment. You know, you can stash your meth or whatever you want. So you can pay for this thing, right? But anyways, I thought this was a cool feature. I've always known that the screen always comes down or flips to have a secret compartment, because I've owned older generations that had it. And of course you got your nice plaque reminding you of what you're driving. And of course you got your temperature setting for the passenger side as well. Now one thing I don't like about this car is I'm always hot, and being that this is Phoenix, Arizona, I would like to have more vents, but you know, I get one vent here and one vent in the center, so 2 for me and 2 for the passenger. But the cabin is relatively small in this car, so I'm sure it cools down very well. I mean, just sitting in this car, you know, the space in it is just so much less than what's in the Camaro SS that I have as well. There we go. This is really, really nice what they've done with these new Corvettes. And of course, you know, this is a 1LT trim, so you're not going to get everything in the world with this car. But, you know, it's Corvette. You could say that I own a Corvette, and it brings it to a whole new different driving level and experience. Especially when the car is 500 pounds lighter than the Camaros and the Mustangs. And Challengers, Chargers, I don't even want to go there. They're just big, big, heavy cars. But anyways, let's back this thing out. Ooh, looks like I got a little too close to my curb thing for my garage. Did you guys hear that? So that's another thing, is you got to get used to parking one of these things. I mean, now if you opt for the higher end trim level models, they do offer cameras in the front so that you can see the front end of your car so you don't scrape anything. But like I said, this is a base model, so I'm not going to have anything like that. But at least it gives you a rear view camera. And visibility in this thing is top notch. I mean, you can just take a look around. There isn't any blind spots in the Corvette, especially if you have the top off. Unlike the Camaro. The Camaro is really bad for blind spots if you don't have a 2SS with the blind spot detection, which I do not have. But let's walk around it, shall we? And I can tell you, getting in and out of this car is a lot more difficult than, let's say, a Camaro or a Mustang. So I like it. I really like it. I bought this car a couple of days ago and really didn't even have much time to even really drive it. Today is Monday, which is my day off, so let's hopefully it doesn't rain and maybe take it out for a drive. But I noticed that with both my SS Camaro and the Corvettes, when you fire these things up in the morning when it's cold, there's just so much condensation coming out of the exhaust, as you can tell. Just that little rev, it just spits water everywhere. The Mustang never really left much water in my driveway, even if I let it sit there for 20 minutes. But I guess that's the price you pay when you have a 6.2 liter and not a 5.0. And of course you got these massive 285s, 20s, okay? Wheels, tires, and they sit on a 30 series, so you don't have much sidewall. And the Camaro SS sits on a 35 series tires. Of course you have Pilot Sport, and they are run flats. And you know, what are you gonna do, you know, because there's really no spare for these, and there's really no place to even put anything. So run flat is run flat, but you do have roadside assistance. I know a lot of guys, they replace them with better tires, so you just get it towed if you have a flat. And of course, these come standard for rock chips that are from the factory. Camaro has it, and I've been using my Camaro as a daily now for at least a few days, and driving on this Arizona freeway, you have shit hitting the car all the time. And I've already got some pits in my Camaro, which kind of takes me off. But what are you gonna do when it's a daily driver? Okay, when you drive these cars, any car, things are gonna happen, and the only way to keep things from not happening is just leave it in the garage. And then in the front, you have two 45s, okay, 30 series, 19s. So you have 19s in the front and 20s in the rear. Of course, you're gonna need those big tires when this car throws out all that power in the car that's 500 pounds lighter than a Camaro or a Mustang. So, for what I pay for this car, it is an awesome, awesome deal to be in an ownership of a Corvette. The thought never occurred to me about buying a Corvette because it was never in my budget. And this was an accident that I found this car due to the fact that I was just browsing through, you know, the internet, and I saw the price on this car. So the next day after work, I went down there to the dealer, and it was true. So I made a deal. Now, I traded my Mustang in, and I got $21,500 on trade. I knew I could have gotten about at least another $1,500 more if I had traded in for something else. But they take so much money off of this car that even though that they shorted me a little bit on the Mustang, it came out to be a very awesome once-in-a-lifetime deal. Because where can you own something like this, okay, for $45,000? You're gonna pay that much practically for a high-performance PP Mustang or a 2SS Camaro. Let's take a look at the back hatch. Now, this is hatchback, so those of you guys know, being hatchback, you can put all kinds of shit in here. Okay, it's not very deep, or the height of it is not very deep. Okay, but you can put easily things that lie flat that you cannot get into a Camaro or a Mustang. Now, one complaint I have about the Camaro is the trunk. It is not a very good designed trunk. I miss the trunk use being a daily on the Camaro because it doesn't offer it, and the Mustang had a huge trunk. Now you've got these hinges here, okay? These hinges here are made to store the target top that I had taken off, but it's inside my house. I didn't want to put it back here and end up scratching it, you know, since it's so new. But eventually things get scratching. It's just gonna happen, but just not right now. You have a storage bin pocket right here. Flimsy, all right? That's one thing I can describe a lot of the interior in this car is it's very flimsy. It's very plasticky. It just doesn't seem like there's a whole heck of a lot of insulation. It doesn't seem like there's a whole heck of a lot of barrier between the outside of the car and the inside of the car, unlike the Camaro SS. And I can tell you the noise level on the Corvette is just like really bad compared to like my Camaro. So this is more of a raw experience. You know, you're gonna hear everything, sounds, the road and everything, that the Camaro, it just isolates it really well. And of course, you have another power outlet back here, which is kind of a good thing because these are generally on SUVs. But giving you a power outlet back there is awesome because you can air up the tire without going all the way to the front, you know, and using that in the center console. And these tailgates, you don't have to slam, okay? This thing is really light. You know, I'm not sure what it's made from, but it is just very light, and you don't have to slam it. All you got to do is just close it, and it sucks it down. You know, I remember those kind of, you know, trunk power, you know, closers or whatever you want to call it, the power hinge. I remember those in old Cadillacs from the 70s, so those have been around a long time. But, you know, it's just another thing to break if something goes wrong. But let's take a look at the engine. Now, this is exactly the same motor, okay? It's a LT1 that's in my Camaro SS. You know, it looks exactly the same. Let me try to get to the hood. Oh, let me find it. It's in a weird spot. There we go. And let me tell you, this hood, it is so light. You can see I just opened it with one finger. You got your Corvette insignia. Now, one thing I don't like is that with the vent right there, taking up that much surface on the front end, water gets in from rain or whatever, and it stains this lining. But, you know, this car sat at the dealership for about 13, 14 months. So it only had 6 miles, which means it wasn't driven, and it had about 2.5 hours of running time. So you know that this was just ran to keep the battery from dying. But the battery eventually did die on the dealership, and there is a new battery that was put into this car. Because when I had originally looked at it, the tire pressuring sensors were not registering because they have not been recalibrated until the tires started turning. But that is a bad design on Chevy's part for making this huge ass vent where water can just seep into the hood and stain everything, especially if the car's not going to be moving. And look at all this space. My God, what could you do with this space? I mean, you lift the hood up on my Camaro, you don't have any space, all right? I mean, there's a lot of things you could make here to make it go fast. And of course, it uses the same motor oil as the Camaro. It's Dextro's 5W30 full synthetic blend Mobil 1. Now on the Corvette it does say Mobil 1. On the Camaro it doesn't say Mobil 1. But I'm pretty sure it is the same oil. Same engine. Okay. Now, just to give you a little idea, not all Corvettes are 460 horsepower. Okay. They're 455 horsepower, just like the Camaro. And the extra 5 horsepower is gained by the performance exhaust that I do have on this car, which is known as the MPP exhaust in the Camaro. But they don't call it the MPP exhaust on the Corvette. It's just called a performance exhaust, but it is the same exact thing. They stack 4 together instead of 2 on each side. And if I was blindfolded, I would not know if this was a Camaro or if this was a Corvette as far as the sound of the motor. Now, driving this car, already I've noticed that the burbles, the crackles, not necessarily the crackles, but the burbles, the back pressure release of the exhaust. Now, even in track mode on both of these cars that I own, I notice it a lot more apparent and a lot more sound to your ears in the Camaro than you do in the Corvette. So I don't know if it's because they stack all 4 right in the middle of the Corvette where you can't hear it as well as you can on a Camaro right there with 2 on each side. Now there is another thing that comes into my mind is that, well, what kind of buyers buy these Corvettes? Well, the median age for a Corvette owner is 63 years old. So I'm sure that when you're 60-some years old, you're not going to want to hear all this noise. You're going to want some quiet. But then again, that's why you have sound management where you can control your performance exhaust. And I love about how these radiators are on the Corvette. They're tilted. You can see that's the radiator. You see how it's kind of tilted. All right, tilted towards the ground. When you're driving 100 miles an hour, it cools off the engine rapidly. But anyways, there we have it. Battery is in the trunk. And we have a fuse box here. And your air box is right there. They're massive. that's why all the water can get in it. It's washing the car. Maybe there's a way to get these stains out. But I've looked at older Corvettes, and you know, in the past, and they all tend to have that kind of problem. But I think the black paint is something I should worry more about than water stains inside the lining of the motor. But let me tell you, these push rod motors, okay, make so much far less racket and noises than the Coyote motors. And, you know, owning Mustangs and owning GM products, Camaros, I can tell you for sure that these LT motors, LS motors, both of them, all of them, they don't make all kind of racket. You hear a valve tappet noise, but that is a push rod motor. Everybody knows it's a normal thing, and it's very consistent. So guys, you know, there we have it. I mean, I will do some driving impressions, some POV on this car. But anyways, I just wanted to, you know, show off this car, go do a walk around, than just filming it at night in the garage, because it's hard to see anything when it's dark. But we've got sunny skies, and thought I'd come out here and vlog this for you guys. And what do you think? I mean, you think I made the right choice? I mean, pretty much these are the same cars. I mean, the Camaro SS is no slouch. I mean, it's got the same powertrain right out of the Corvette. Everything, nothing held back. But when you got this big of a massive of a car, that's a lot of weight compared to this nimble car that's pretty much all plastic. But anyways, Brian, I want to give you a shout out. Rated R Cars. I never knew that this black Corvette was one of your dream cars. And you know what? These are awesome, let me tell you. And if you can buy one of these right, and if you can swing the extra 20 grand, it is the way to go. Different experience. I feel different, even though that it is the same car as the Camaro. Because you know why? You've got Corvette status. Anyways, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Please like, subscribe, comment, tap the notification bell for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Rated R Cars, I am the dark side. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Take care.